Welcome back, everyone. Michael here with Offshore Citizen. We often are in a situation where when we're looking at places to live, get set up, etc., we tend to hone in on many of the same areas. Typically certain parts of Europe, a couple little areas of Asia, occasionally but less parts of Latin America. But of course there's, like 196 countries and many more than that jurisdictions in the world. And it makes you maybe sometimes think, well, what about all the other places that we're missing out on? Now, it's true that certain places tend to have certain benefits that others don't have. There's, better quality of life. There's more things that are developed. There's, better access in terms of air travel, et cetera, et cetera. However, this being said, I do think it's interesting to explore some other alternatives, especially when you're thinking about it from the standpoint of places that are non-correlated with each other. So today I'm going to talk to you about a new residency by investment program for a real estate purchase, which is quite interesting for certain people. And it's in an area that isn't historically popular, but I think is more and more up and coming and therefore might be interesting to some people. It's also interesting that it was one of the places that I would say remained relatively open compared to a lot of the other parts of the world over the last year and a half or whatever it was. And that might be an interesting indicator for some of you. So this place is the island of Zanzibar, which is part of Tanzania. And I'm going to give a little bit of a description on their new program, which they just launched this summer. So let's dive in. Before we do, if you haven't already, please smash the subscribe button, hit the all notifications, make sure you don't miss out on any videos. If you'd like help with figuring out where to relocate, how to get residency permits, what permit is best for you, help with actually getting the residency permit, as well as citizenships, official and unofficial, tax optimization, asset protection, forming companies, open bank accounts, all those sorts of things, please reach out to me. You can book a call, calendly.com/Michael-Rosmer, link in the description below, or send us to our websites, offshorecitizen.net or offshorecapitalist.com. Okay, so very quickly, in I think it was 2018, Zanzibar had a program that was open to developers developing real estate. And it wasn't very successful in part because there was nobody to buy the real estate. And so they did kind of some consultations and looked at what was necessary to attract foreign buyers. And one of the things they said was very important was to have a residency permit that you could get with the property purchase, which is great. So they've introduced this program. It's open to people who buy any properties, okay? So you don't just have to buy residential, you could buy raw land, you could buy, a restaurant, commercial property, etc. If it's residential, it's fine. In the other cases, you do have to get an approval, but not that big a deal. So that's quite interesting for anyone who's interested. It's also noteworthy that in general, Zanzibar has been on the rise since probably about 2012 in terms of their real estate market. It's certainly a lesser known place, but a place of growing popularity. I've seen just in the last year, I've had a number of friends who have gone to visit, which is cool. And so that might be interesting to you. This is not really a place where you would go for citizenship. First of all, if you could get citizenship, they don't allow dual citizenship, and so you'd be switching off to an alternative. Second of all, their citizenship criteria is not so great. But as a residency permit, especially if you're trying to put money in some place that's fairly non-correlated, that might be a great option. Now, worth noting is there's no minimum stay requirement, okay? So you can have that residency permit, no minimum stay. It's relatively inexpensive in terms of fees. The government fees are about $3,000 for the first applicant, and then about $500 for each person thereafter. It's $550. And it allows for the main applicant, spouse, and up to 4 children under age of 20. So note, this is another little bit of an advantage. Most of them cut off at 18. This is 20. That's kind of a nice little boost, okay? It's renewable for as long as you own the property, and it doesn't apply once you get rid of the property, kind of normal in that sense. They also have some tax benefits that come with it. So no tax on worldwide income, fantastic. The capital gains on the sale of that property is cut in half. The income tax on local income is cut in half. You probably won't earn local income anyway, aside from maybe rental income, so that's not an issue. No withholding taxes, so that's also excellent. And yeah, so quite decent in terms of those options. So I think, who is this good for? this is probably good for somebody who thinks, well, to start off with, one of the things is oftentimes we're looking at places that are in the Northern Hemisphere. And frankly, the weather's not so good in the winter in most of the Northern Hemisphere. You can go someplace like Dubai, or, you know, it's not bad, but it's really not warm, right? You could go to Southeast Asia, and that's often good, but Southeast Asia we've seen is, you know, got kind of restrictions there over the last year. And so where else can you go? Well, you can go to South America, or you can go to Africa. And I've spoken about how I have somebody who works for me in Kenya. Wonderful, wonderful, great. I'll probably look at hiring more people in Africa over time. I find it's really, really underappreciated right now, in part because you not only have smart, hardworking people, but they have great English. And so that's one of the things, even if you look at certain parts of Asia where they'll have English is common, but it's certainly not quite as clear. Same thing, you know, you can get people in Latin America and, you know, hardworking, you know, etc. But English isn't a first language, so it's a little bit more of an issue, whereas English in a bunch of these places is a first language, so that's cool. Yeah, so if you wanted to have a place for the winter, I mean, during the winter months, you're talking about an average temperature, I think it's about 26 degrees, especially good from December to March, which is a time when things are bad in a bunch of other places. So if you wanted to have a holiday home or something that you didn't need to go to, that you could rent out when you're not there, something like this, as well as, you know, potentially a reasonable possibility that over time that market appreciates, I think it's worth looking at as kind of a backup option as well. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below, reach out to us. You can book a call or send us a message. Follow me on Twitter @Michael Rosmer, and I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.